The daughter, who thinks she deserves everything, calls her dad, who is raising her alone, a poor loser and says mean things about him online because he won't pay for her expensive wedding, costing $150,000. Instead of arguing with her, he stops giving her money. Hey everyone, I'm a 44-year-old guy with a daughter named Trisha, who's 23. She's getting married to her boyfriend Jerry, who's 26 soon. When I was in my early 20s, just 6 months into my marriage, my wife passed away from an epileptic seizure. So I've been raising Trisha by myself ever since. My main focus has always been making sure she has a good life. After my wife died, I threw myself into my job, like most people do. My sister would look after Trisha during the day, and then I'd take over after work. I worked hard, got promoted, and spent all my money on giving Trisha everything she wanted. I spoiled her, no doubt about it. I thought I was doing what was best for her, giving her whatever she asked for because I could afford it. My sister warned me many times not to spoil her, but I didn't listen. Trisha was my weakness, and I couldn't say no to her. About a week ago, Trisha asked me to foot the bill for her wedding, which she wanted to be super fancy and cost around $150,000. She had a long list of guests, even people she hardly knew, and wanted all sorts of pricey things like fancy food and a high-end venue. On top of that, she wanted me to pay for her designer wedding dress, jewelry, and her bridesmaids' outfits. Now, I'm not stingy and I do pretty well for myself, but $150,000 was just too steep. I run my own business now, but dropping that much cash on a wedding would seriously mess up my finances. So I had to tell Trisha that I couldn't afford to cover the whole thing. She'd have to scale back or chip in herself. She was disappointed and asked if I hadn't saved up a wedding fund for her. I had, but it was only $75,000. And honestly, I never planned to cover the whole wedding with it. I didn't expect Trisha to ask me to cover all the wedding expenses, maybe just the venue or catering, not everything. Plus, I hadn't planned for her wedding because I didn't think she'd marry so soon. She and Jerry had only been together for a year. They could wait and save up or even get better jobs to help pay. When I explained this to her, she got really upset and stormed out of the house. She was angry because I said I couldn't afford it, even though she knew I could. But it wasn't about whether I could afford it, I just didn't want to spend that much on a wedding. She called me selfish and compared it to a business deal, which made no sense to me. Feeling guilty, I decided to take out a personal loan to cover the wedding costs. I talked to a friend who works at a bank about it. I figured I could pay it back gradually so it didn't seem like a big deal. Trisha didn't speak to me for the next couple of days, and I decided to reach out to her once I finalized the loan. On the third day, Trisha posted a really hurtful message on Facebook. She called me a broke loser and accused me of being selfish and neglectful when she was growing up. She even hinted that her mom's death was somehow my fault, which was incredibly painful to read. She said I cared more about my work than my family and that I only thought about myself and my business. It was like a punch in the gut. I blocked her on social media right away and couldn't even bring myself to look at my phone or go online for a while. I was feeling so low that I didn't even notice when my sister came over to check on me. When she saw how upset I was, I just broke down in front of her. Trisha's hurtful words really got to me, and I felt pretty down for a few days after. I didn't want to talk to anyone except at work, and even getting out of bed was a struggle. Thankfully, my sister was there for me, looking after me while I was feeling so low. She also talked to Trisha and got her to take down the hurtful post, but by then the damage was done. I felt like I finally knew what my daughter thought of me, and it broke my heart. I didn't know what to say to her, so I just didn't speak to her at all. I only unblocked her yesterday when I started to feel a little better. My sister had already given Trisha a piece of her mind, but I needed to talk to her myself. I canceled the loan, and I know it's going to be tough, but I wanted Trisha to feel the hurt she caused me. I know she's my daughter and I shouldn't feel this way, but I couldn't help it. I just wanted her to understand how much her words hurt. So after I unblocked her, I waited for Trisha to reach out, and she did call me last night. She started by saying sorry, explaining that she said those hurtful things out of anger and disappointment about the wedding. But her apology didn't sound very sincere. She sounded more annoyed than anything else, which frustrated me even more. So I stopped her apology and decided to tell her about the loan I was planning to take out and the surprise I had in store for her. At first, she seemed excited, but then I dropped the bombshell that I canceled the loan after her hurtful post, and I wouldn't be paying for any of the wedding anymore. I told her she could figure out how to pay for it herself since she claimed to be so independent and called me selfish. I wanted Trisha to understand how much she hurt me, so I came up with an idea, even though it wasn't fair. I told her I wanted her to pay me back for everything I spent on her since she turned 18. I didn't actually want the money. I just wanted her to feel guilty. It was a lot of money, covering things like her college fees and apartment because she didn't want to live on campus. She also used to go shopping with her friends a lot, knowing I'd foot the bill. She took advantage of my kindness, so I told her to pay it all back, and then we could go our separate ways. She wouldn't have to deal with a broke loser dad like me, and I wouldn't have to deal with a spoiled, rude brat like her. It seemed like the best solution for both of us. I was so furious by the end of the call that I was practically yelling into the phone. All the anger and frustration I'd been holding back just exploded out of me. After I hung up, I collapsed onto the couch, trying to calm down. My sister had been in the kitchen and heard everything. She didn't say anything right away, but I could tell she had a lot on her mind. Later that evening, she brought it up at dinner. She told me that I played a big part in how Trisha turned out because I spoiled her. Now, I couldn't solely blame Trisha because she didn't raise herself. I did. My sister pointed out that I was being too harsh on her. She believed I should have cut her off until she apologized sincerely, not just for show. Trisha's apology probably came because she faced criticism from our relatives and maybe some sensible friends too. What she said was really hurtful and unfair to me. But my reaction was over the top too, and I shouldn't have let anger take over because, in the end, I'm the one who raised her and influenced who she became. She reminded me of all the times Trisha had been mean to others, like our relatives or her friends. She said I never really spoke up against Trisha back then because it wasn't happening to me. I might have scolded her a bit, but there were never any real consequences because I thought she would grow out of it. But now that Trisha was being cruel to me, I finally saw the person I had created, and I had no one to blame but myself. I had a chance to fix things by letting her realize her mistakes on her own, but instead I acted like a child and did what Trisha would have done in my place. I was vengeful and needlessly cruel, which made me just like her. Now she's going to be even angrier with me and won't realize she did something wrong. I would have been better off giving her the silent treatment because at least then I wouldn't feel guilty. At the time, I didn't agree with my sister and left dinner angrily without finishing my meal. We haven't spoken since last night, but now that I've had some time to cool off, I can see her point. I realized I was acting the same way Trisha had, and that's not a good example for my daughter. But I also don't think this is entirely my fault. Trisha is an adult and can make her own choices. I didn't teach her to act this way, but I didn't teach her not to either. I'm just confused about whether I'm really to blame here or not. So AITA for allegedly spoiling my daughter. Update 1. Hi everyone. I realized my mistake and apologized to my sister, especially since she's the only person looking out for me right now, and I can't afford to lose her support. Also because she's right, and I guess I just didn't want to admit it because then I'd have to face my own failure as a father. I guess I never really took it seriously when Trisha would act out and be horrible to other people because I didn't want to reprimand her. I was too soft on her, and now it's backfired because she's become a bad person. We haven't spoken since that phone call, and she hasn't tried to reach out to me either. That's probably how things will be for a while because what she said was incredibly disrespectful and hurtful. I'm definitely not going to talk to her unless she sincerely apologizes. Honestly, I don't see us ever reconciling in the future. Update 2. My sister believes I should have taken this approach from the start, as soon as she made that post, and I agree. That phone call didn't make things better. It just made me realize I had failed as a father. I wanted to raise a daughter who wouldn't feel bad about not having a mother, so I might have spoiled her and made sure she had everything she wanted. I was overcompensating, and in doing so, I fell behind in actually being a father and disciplining her when I needed to. I just couldn't bring myself to scold or punish her, which are important parts of being a parent. So in a way, maybe it wasn't entirely wrong. I had been selfish, and because of my selfishness, both Trisha and I are now suffering. I feel bad about everything, but what's done is done. I don't want any money back from Trisha, and I don't think she's going to return it to me anyway. I don't regret what I said to her. I think it was important for me to express my feelings, but I could have been gentler. I don't feel like I owe her an apology, so I'm going to continue not speaking to her. If she apologizes to me, then that's a different story, but that hasn't happened yet, so I don't know. Update 3. I just received a payment of $22,000 from Trisha. It's been about 4 days since my last update, and we haven't spoken during this time, so I don't know what this is about. I told my sister, and she thinks it might be related to me telling Trisha to repay everything I've done for her since she became an adult. That makes sense, but it felt strange that she sent money without saying anything first, so I sent the money back. I don't want or need it. What I wanted was an apology, but since I'm not going to get one, I don't need her money either. She hasn't sent it back yet, and I'm not sure what will happen now. A few hours have passed since I posted, and just a couple of minutes after I updated, Trisha called me. She very coldly informed me that she was just doing what I asked. She asked me not to make things more difficult and to accept the money without making a huge fuss. I told her I didn't want her money. I was just trying to make her feel as bad as she made me feel during our phone call. She could keep her money. I really didn't want it. But she argued that after the way I insulted her on the call, she didn't feel comfortable owing me money anymore. So I used the same logic and told her that after her Facebook post where she called me a selfish, broke loser, I didn't feel comfortable taking money from her because that would just reinforce what she already believed about me. We were at a deadlock. After a few seconds of silence, she sighed and said she didn't know what I wanted her to say anymore and that she was exhausted from dealing with my strange behavior. I repeated the same words back to her because I felt the same way. We were silent for a few more seconds, then Trisha told me she was ready to talk. I told her that if I wanted to have a genuine discussion about our problems, we could do that. But if I continued to act like this, she couldn't see us ever sorting things out. So I told her that I didn't want a discussion. The only thing I wanted was an apology, and if she was ready to apologize, we could talk. Otherwise, I had nothing to say to her. Then I disconnected the call, and that was it. She didn't say anything, and she hasn't texted me since. I've said what I needed to say, and now the ball is in her court. Update 4 ***. Hey guys, it's been a couple of days since my last post. I still haven't heard from Trisha, but Jerry posted about their breakup on social media. I didn't find out myself, my sister told me because she keeps in touch with our other relatives, and I saw the post since Trisha had been tagged in it. Apparently it was mutual, or at least that's what they're telling everyone, but I don't buy it. If it had actually been mutual, Trisha wouldn't have deactivated all her accounts within an hour of that post. I know something fishy is going on, but I can't ask her what's up, so I have to figure it out for myself. My sister has a couple of theories, all involving my fight with Trisha. She thinks they probably fought about something related to it, which led to their breakup. It could be the case, but I don't think it is. However, I've been wrong about a lot of things lately, so maybe I'm wrong about this too. I wouldn't be surprised if I am. I do want to know what happened between Trisha and Jerry, and I desperately want to console her because I know she must be feeling terrible right now. But I can't do any of that, so I'm just going to ignore it all. Update 5 ***. Okay, so today I finally found out what exactly went down between Trisha and Jerry, and it's bad. Thankfully, it had nothing to do with me, so my sister was wrong about that, and I'm really glad she was because this is one mess I'd hate to be a part of. I didn't have to ask Trisha anything. She offered me an explanation herself a couple of days ago. For the record, we're still not on good terms. I don't know what kind of terms we're on for now, so I'm going to avoid talking about it for a while. Anyway, I mentioned earlier that Trisha and Jerry had only known each other for a year. They met through friends, and Jerry was actually seeing someone when he first met Trisha but broke up with her soon after. Then Trisha and Jerry got together about a month after his breakup. A couple of months into their relationship, Trisha found out that Jerry had been two-timing her and hadn't actually broken up with his ex. They fought about it, but Trisha didn't leave him and chose to stay. She made him promise not to have any contact with his ex again. To show how serious he was, Jerry proposed to her, and Trisha rushed the marriage because she wanted to put his ex out of his mind. Recently, she found out that Jerry had been using a secret phone to keep in touch with his ex. This made her decide to end things with him. This happened just a couple of days ago, but Jerry begged her not to publicize the cheating because his family would definitely cut him off if they found out. He was desperate, so she promised not to talk about it publicly. They put out a statement saying they were parting ways mutually without revealing the real reason for their breakup. Trisha had been suspicious that he was up to something wrong, which made her edgy since they got engaged. When she got frustrated about wedding costs and said hurtful things to me, she later apologized and explained it was due to stress. She hoped we could reconcile in the future and promised to be a better daughter and person. I haven't replied to her apology yet because I'm unsure how to respond. I feel bad for her and for myself. My daughter means everything to me and I feel like I've messed things up. I'll reach out to her once I figure out what to say. I want to clear the air and let her know that I'll always support her, no matter what. Update 6. Hey there, it's been a while since I last checked Reddit, but I have some good news to share. Trisha and I have patched things up, and it's going smoothly. She apologized to me, and I forgave her because she was really upset. She explained that her issues with Jerry had been bothering her, and it caused her to act out. She admitted that she's not always easy to deal with, even before this incident. I also realized that I played a part in this by not guiding her better. We're working on our relationship because we want to support each other, especially during tough times. We're committed to making things better between us. As for Jerry, I suggested that Trisha should share the truth about what happened. He had promised to stay faithful to her, but he didn't keep his word. So Trisha felt she didn't owe him any kindness or need to keep her promise to him either. I encouraged her to share the truth, and she did. This led to a heated argument online, revealing Jerry's true character. Most people supported Trisha, except for a few who already had negative opinions about her. Trisha felt relieved to speak up, and I'm proud of her for doing so. Right now, we're focused on repairing our relationship, although it's not perfect yet. We're still early in rebuilding our father-daughter relationship, but we're hopeful for a strong bond. Trisha is also getting therapy to improve herself, which is something we both needed. We're uncertain about the future, but we're committed to doing our best to move forward together.